Hey guys, Jeremy here from School of Wok Covent Garden. It's Wok Wednesdays once again, and this week we're doing chili hoisin potsticker wontons. Don't forget though guys, subscribe to our channel if you're liking our recipes. So, we've got a couple of really popular wonton recipes already on Wok Wednesdays. I'm going to do something completely different here. It's kind of like a pan-fried wonton potsticker, and I'm going to flash fry it into a stir fry at the end. In my head, this sounds incredibly tasty. So let's see what happens. I've got some Chinese chive here and some bean sprouts, which are going to sort of make up my base of my flash fry vegetables that will go with my wontons. And when you're flash frying Chinese chive, you can pretty much use the whole lot apart from the last centimetre of stalk. So straight in there, I've got my washed bean sprouts, Chinese chive lengths. Then I've got this sort of leftover mix from one of our cookery classes. Classic wonton mix. It's actually a veggie mix here. So ginger, garlic, spring onion, some coriander, shiitake mushrooms, the dried kind that's been soaked in hot water overnight. And then lots more Chinese chive, finely chopped up, a little bit of Chinese leaf or pak choi, and then just sort of seasoned lightly. I'm going to put a bit more seasoning in because I know from the class yesterday it wasn't quite salty enough for my liking, and a little bit more sesame oil. So light soy sauce and sesame oil there. You can just use a bit of salt and pepper. And as this is veggie, it's easy to sort of check the flavour before you cook it. Yeah, nice. Really nice and fresh. It's 1 day old from the fridge, but absolutely fine to use. I'm going to use some prawns in this to sort of bind my wonton mix a bit better. Just a light bashing of prawn is fine, because I still want sort of a nice bite of prawn mince rather than it be too fine. And then just a very rough chop of your prawns, and then add that to your mix. Best way to get that prawn into the mix is use your hands. So one hand cleaner, one hand dirty. And my filling is ready. Right, I'm going to make up a quick sauce. I've got a base of chili bean sauce, so a teaspoon of that. A teaspoon of the good sort of pasty stuff from Chill Chow chili oil. A good tablespoon or so of hoisin sauce. I'm going to thin it out a little with some rice wine. So 1.5 tablespoons of rice wine. Give that a mix. The hoisin sauce has got a nice sweetness to it, so it'll sort of work with the chives quite well. But I don't want it to be oversweet. So I'm going to balance that out with a bit of Chinkiang black vinegar. 2 teaspoons is enough. Have a little taste of that. I'm really playing here with flavour. So I can taste this sort of slight sour there. And I want a bit more savoury, so light soy sauce, just a tablespoonful of light soy sauce. Let's see how that works. Yeah. Now it's sort of brought out the sweetness of the hoisin, but hasn't allowed that sugar to overpower. And I've got a kick of chili. That sauce is ready, and it's not a huge amount. It's just to help flash fry my vegetables, so my bean sprouts and my chives. So I've got my square wonton pastries. And this is what I call in my book Hong Kong Diner, that one over there, the smiling nun fold. Okay, it's quite difficult to explain sort of folding techniques when you're writing a recipe, so I quite like my silly little names. And this is a type of fold that I actually saw in Hong Kong. A couple of old aunties, we call them, in the markets of Hong Kong, just making hundreds and hundreds of these. So I'm going to sort of dab a little bit of water and close that up. Just close those sides slightly, and then roll that one more time. It's kind of like a sausage roll right now. Once you've got your sausage roll, then you kind of pick that up, and the inside folds we're going to bring together inwards and upwards and squeeze that together. And if I show you that now, that's what I call the gummy bear's nun, or the smiley nun. Okay, so I'm going to make a school of nuns for you guys, and then we're going to pan fry them, get them crisp, almost like pot stickers. We'll steam and pan fry them at the same time, and then I'm going to fold them into the flash fried hoisin chili sauce to finish. Oh yeah! Right, so I have my school of smiling nuns. This one's very smiley. She looks a little bit grumpy. They kind of look like they're chatting to each other. Anyway, I'm going to get cooking. So we're going to pan fry your dumplings and steam them at the same time. So I'm just going to fry them sort of head side down. It's like the sister act of dumplings. So they do need a little bit of space each. Start to move them around in a second. Make sure that every pastry has a good amount of oil, and you can see how crispy they sort of go quite quickly. Wonton pastries don't need a long time to cook up. So I'm going to start to turn those, get them crispy on two sides. Crisp up both sides, and then I've got this lid here ready to go. I've got a bit of water, so I'm going to go on a high heat. I want to use the water to steam my wontons through. So it's on a really nice high heat now. I'm going to cover the water sort of a third to halfway up the wontons. And then cover that with a lid. And that will cook my dumplings through very quickly. It doesn't have to be a bamboo steamer lid, guys. I've got one lying around. You can use a glass lid, any sort of lid, or if you don't have a lid at all, use a plate. Just be careful when you're taking that plate off, because it will be very hot. Whilst those wontons are cooking, I'm going to go on a high heat, flash fry my chives and bean sprouts along with my sauce, and then I'll dish my bean sprouts out and then just sort of use my wontons to mop up that sauce. This all happens pretty quickly. Right, smoking hot wok, bean sprouts and chives in. I don't mind just using my tongs for this. Keep that sizzle going if you can. Only sort of toss it through when you've got too much sort of dry smoke. And this is how you keep the crunch of the bean sprouts, even if you're adding moisture to the wok. You see my wontons now, the water is pretty much fully evaporated. It's kind of simultaneous cooking here. Just going to heat that up a little bit more. Right, really, really high heat, back to the wok. Once it's smoking hot, then you pour your sauce in. And I'm just going to finish the wontons off in that wok in a second. But what I want is for my wontons to be nice and crispy on both top and bottom. So I've crisped up one side. I've switched my wok off here, just whilst I'm doing this. You can see that crisp edge there. We want that on both sides of the dumpling. Whoa. I am hungry just looking at this. My veg is just sitting and waiting whilst I crisp this up, and I'll bring it back up to a really high heat, flick my dumplings through that veg, and serve up my dish. So, my wontons are crisped on both sides. I'm bringing my wok back up to a really high heat. When it's vigorously boiling, my wontons will go in 1 or 2 tosses and serve it straight up. Vigorously boiling, wontons in, 1, 2, 3, and that's done. So that's a completely different way of making some wontons. Crisp edge, soft in the center, crunchy vegetables, and that chili hoisin sauce. I can't wait to dig in. My stomach has been grumbling just looking at this. That absolutely hits the spot. Got a slight crisp on the outer edge, crunch on the vegetables, that chili sauce. Oh, I could eat this all day. Guys, if you like this recipe and you want to learn more, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.